Welcome to the Big Biz Show, featuring insight, analysis, and a lot of stuff that's none of your business.
Hold on. This is the Big Biz Show. I think it is their business.
Making the markets work for you. Here's the man with the plan, Sully.
Hey there, live from the Laughlin in the studio. Did you see the t-shirt on James? My other t-shirts at your mom's house? Is that what that said? Great to have you along today. Sully here, Costa there, Mary Burke, Greg Todoroff, and of course, the DTC, DTT. Wow, that was kind of a slow roll. Wow, look at that.
DTT.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Kind of quiet in here today. Is it because we had 50 people in here yesterday?
We had a lot of people here.
We should another show. We should do a San Diego show here, and it was crazy yesterday.
Yeah.
We had a very popular band called Sullivan. Oh no, actually it was Daring Greatly was here yesterday, and then we had all kind. I mean, like 50 people here.
Over 50.
It was like a nightclub.
The thing is, and you're always in here doing the show with Tommy and the whole group on Wednesdays, but if you're in the outer parts of this campus of Loft 100 Studios, there is a roar that's coming out of this studio when OTA is being.
Oh, really?
Oh my!
Hear it?
Oh my God! Are you kidding me?
Like applause or
just the
music?
Everything, all the noise.
I don't want to hear that.
No.
I don't want to have people coming to yell at us.
No, not to the point where it's like, hey, I'm sleeping, but it's just.
Frankly, a lot of people in the business park come over to the studio.
Yeah.
And watch the show. Well, every once in a
They
while.
like it when we have taco trucks.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, sometimes we have
feed them.
talking. You should just swing by most Wednesdays. There's food out here. You should go get it. I think going forward, I think we need to have a market update, and I think we should have Howie Font do the market update either from here or from New York. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Big fan.
I like it.
Yes.
Just to look at the hair.
Oh my.
He's got nice hair.
Greatest hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got really nice hair.
Still don't understand what he does.
Some would
after
call that a
package with
helmet.
Devin.
It's so
It
nice.
is a helmet.
It's a helmet.
Oh, so him and Devin. Have we seen that package?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We just need to play it again today. They're doing another one. They're doing a couple more, like a series. I believe personally that they should have a social channel. I think they would go viral, honestly. Howie, because there's the next one is called Howie Comes to San Diego and Gets Fired, and then Devin has some sort of an idea where he wants to mock up that Devin brought brownies to the studio, and Howie says, "Hey, let me have one of those," and suddenly, oops, they turn into each other. Which would be fantastic.
Well,
That is
just
pretty fun.
when you look at their physical carcasses, they could not be more polar opposites.
Yeah, this is apple and bacon.
Pretty much.
Right?
Oil and water. But Devin, who is absolutely brilliant at all these things he does, the stuff with Howie just clicks.
Well, yeah, it's fantastic. So listen, we have a huge show today. I know we've been tended to follow through on biotech, but man, biotech is at this point, after such a horrible year last year, coming through, and capital is actually available that wasn't available for them. They're pulling through. I think we have Jeremy Ransom today, Chief of Staff for NRX Pharmaceuticals. You know him from Jonathan Javitt, which we're doing actually a documentary on. So, long story short, he's a Marine Corps vet. He joined the company because, of course, NRX Pharmaceuticals focuses somewhat, or one of their focuses is suicidal ideation, ketamine, and he lost a number of people due to suicide after the Marine Corps, so it'll be a good interview on that. Last of all, so I want to know if you guys are invested, band, are you guys invested in any of the mainstream stocks like Apple or any AI stocks? Are you guys all dipping into that stuff?
Yes.
See, I cannot get behind dipping into AI yet, and not because I don't believe it, I just think that, remember how the internet in 1999 went like this and then went like this?
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting, listen, if you're invested in it, you should invest in it for the long haul. I'm not suggesting you get in and out. I just want to. Are we too early for
It's
it?
not going anywhere, that's for sure. And Meta just rolled out their Meta AI this week.
Are you anticipating like a .com bubble and then
No, I'm just saying. Is the infrastructure there to even? Let's win the cannabis thing. Remember, whenever it was investing, and we didn't have infrastructure for it, the thing just disappeared.
Wild West?
Until we get federal funding. Boys, let's start the show.
Oh boy.
Let's go.
Here we go.
Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks. If we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullygroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Welcome to the Big Biz Show, featuring insight, analysis, and a lot of stuff that's none of your business.
Hold on. This is the Big Biz Show. I think it is their business.
Making the markets work for you. Here's the man with the plan, Sully.
It is the Big Biz Show at the Loft 100 Studios. Hope you guys are having a great day.
You are.
Yeah, well, yeah. Costa, very, very confident. Our executive producer, Greg Todorov, Sully. And Steve just said to me as we were coming back, he goes, "Nice look, bro." You know, if you don't split a sausage before you cook it and the casing bursts on the
Is this the analogy?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cooking up sausages.
That's
sausages.
What is it?
Bratwurst.
20 pounds of
brats.
20 pounds of ass stuffed into it.
Bag.
Yeah.
That's good. Steve Thesing's here. Of course, he is Chief Business Officer of Calidi Biotherapeutics. We've had him on a number of times. Very exciting technology regarding brain cancer. It's something, probably the worst cancer you can get at GBM. Glioblastoma. There you go.
Yep.
Their stock symbol CLDI on the NYSE American Exchange. You had a successful career in software. You came to be the CBO of Calidi. Technologically, things are going fantastic for you guys. You're introducing more and more proof of that every day. Talk about, just give us an overview for the folks that haven't heard you, and then talk about the new stuff, because I heard about something called RT Nova.
Yes. So we have 3 platforms now, and these are all about arming the immune system to kill cancer. That's what our technology does. We use a cell or an enveloping aspect of a cell with RT Nova to deliver what's called an oncolytic virotherapy.
So basically, the medicine goes into a little spaceship that goes inside of you and inserts itself. See? Nailed
No,
it.
no spaceship. Boom, spaceship. You're not in oncology, are you?
No, those are technical terms. So what is the vehicle that you load the payload with, which is sort of a viral payload, which fights the solid tumor cancer? What is that called?
So we use a stem cell in our platforms, which Neuronova for brain cancer, glioblastoma, and also for supernova. So it's a stem cell from a master cell bank that acts like a Trojan horse to carry a virus that's engineered only to attack cancer. It doesn't harm the other cells.
So what we're looking at here with the graphics is the 3 delivery systems, technologies.
Yep.
CLD 101, which you've talked about, CLD 201, and now CLD 400, which is RT Nova. And this is in preclinical right now.
Right.
And the indications, lung cancer, metastatic cancer. We're hoping that it could be an enterprise-wide solution for other cancers. Talk about everything. Maybe the differences real quickly.
Yep. So what you see here in the graphics, the first 2 platforms, Neuronova and Supernova, just from size, they are larger than the one on the far right.
Right.
And that is because those use a stem cell that's then loaded with the OV. And the problem with that approach to go after metastatic cancers, it can't flow through the blood. So those are direct or intratumoral administrations.
Goes right into the tumor. to destroy the
right,
tumor.
right into the tumor, to destroy the primary tumor and then educate the immune system to go and kill other cancers of that same type.
So the difference with the RT Nova
is it is it's an engineered human cell membrane. So the gold wrapper around that cell is actually a human cell membrane that's been engineered to wrap around the OV payload.
Payload again.
And it's powerful because this can be intravenously injected. So it's a true systemic approach, meaning IV administered, and it will get to the tumor. So it flows through the bloodstream to get to the tumor. This is very powerful for a lung cancer. It's also powerful anytime somebody is later stage and their cancers have metastasized. And so you've got like microscopic elements of cancer throughout the body, even before they show up in imaging. This is technology that 2-3 years ago, when we were meeting with companies like Johnson & Johnson and Lilly, they basically said, hey, we like your supernova technology, but if you could somehow do this in an IV, in a systemic, we consider that the holy grail. And so we doubled down, and we, Dr. Antonio Santidrian, our chief scientific officer, and others on our team have made this RT Nova a reality. And in preclinical, and I can show you, I will show you.
Real quickly, what's the hopeful outcome? We're not curing this. We're doing quality of life, or are we curing this?
With RT Nova, this can be a cure.
Okay.
Actually, they all administered at the right point in time can.
So this is
cure
just not
cancer.
extending patient life during the process, because
Correct.
if you get diagnosed with GBM, it's a 6-month.
Steve, is this a situation where you get the one IV and then it's just like, all right, boys, go do your thing inside the body, or do you need to keep going to
much like
to replenish, or
Well, in the case of RT Nova, it's preclinical.
Okay.
I mean, we can show you images of mouse data that show where just one administration reduced like a lung cancer, I think nearly 90%. We've got data.
So let's do that real quick. Yeah.
We administered a treatment, one IV, in the tail vein of this mouse. And that particular mouse model had head and neck cancer, lung cancer, and melanoma. And you see off of that one dosing, the tumor growth inhibition for lung, 92%, and for the melanoma, 87%. So we expect that this can be very powerful to go after metastases. Now, this is simultaneously killing 3 different cancer types in this preclinical model.
So lung cancer, melanoma, and head and neck, said SCC cancer, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. How often in these trials does this translate to human trials?
Well, in the case of this preclinical data, we have now re-engaged with several big pharma companies, meetings next week in San Francisco, and also meetings at the ASCO conference and bio conferences.
Which is the biggest bio conference in the country.
Yep.
Which comes up, and that allows you to talk to not only investors but other scientists, and,
Right.
and potentially validate even more along the way of your therapies. Where are we at in this case? Give us because you put this stuff out there, and we get a million emails on how long, when.
Right.
Could you even hazard a guess? Is this 5 years down the road, or is this 2 years down the road, or is it pretty aggressive?
I would say our hope is to sign a collaboration with a big pharma partner before the end of the year, and this could potentially be in clinical studies about 2 years from now. But this is powerful. This is the holy grail that would negate so many of these other types. Now, I want to say supernova and neuronova, those continue on in clinical trial. We have an update on our clinical trial enrollment at ASCO for neuronova in recurrent GBM. That's happening right now at City of Hope. 7 patients dosed to date out of 12.
And are you even allowed to say how it's going, or is it just too soon to tell?
The fact that we're recruiting for the 4th and final cohort shows that the earlier ones have been solid.
That's right. Sorry, Mike.
And these treatments would ideally replace chemotherapy, the need for that.
You know, I think in the case, it depends. I mean, they potentially could, but right now we have to align with standard of care. And so there may be instances, like right now with neuronova, it is in combination. So in newly diagnosed, there are standard of care elements, but we're moving into a multi-dosing strategy that could negate the need for chemo.
Steve, you got about a minute left here today. I want to talk a little bit about your subsidiary in Germany. Is that a valid conversation still? Because that seems like that shows a lot of well, you're doubling down.
Right.
Right. Talk about it.
The subsidiary in Germany is R&D, process development. We have a team of PhDs there. They are the ones that enabled us to manufacture this RT Nova drug, and that just says it all right there. The fact that we're able to create this human cell enveloped OV oncolytic virotherapy and to manufacture it in what will be to scale. That's because of our team in Germany.
Steve Thesing, Chief Business Officer, Calidi Biotherapeutics. CLDI is their stock symbol, CLDI. Of course, you can go to calidibio.com. We'll be seeing more of you. Can't wait to hear what's. Every time you bring, it's like it's moving on really quick.
Yeah.
Makes us feel better.
Like this.
Makes us feel better about our unhealthy lifestyle.
Pretty much.
I don't want to be your patient, but if we are, I'm going to feel better. Steve, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
It is a Big Biz Show, live from the Loft 100 studios. We are also in over 170 countries. And all the ships at sea on the American Forces Network. And as always, to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, for what you do, what you've done for us, thank you. Costa, Mary Burt Godwin, the executive producer is Greg Todoroff.
And we have a guest on set.
Look at this.
We do.
His name is Jeremy Ransom. He's the Chief of Staff at NRX Pharmaceuticals, stock symbol NRXP. You know the name of the company from Jonathan Javitt, who joins us very often here in the studio. And I know Jonathan happens to be abroad right now, but this is it's an interesting concept of a company that deals with a number of issues, mainly, at least starting off, suicidal ideation and ketamine is a lead drug, and also they're talking about bipolar, and they're talking about a number of other things. But lots of stuff happening in the company if you follow the news, and it's a pleasure to have proud veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps, Jeremy Ransom. How are you, bud? Good.
Welcome.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Now, you flew all the way in from where?
Austin, Texas.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite cities. Yeah. We just got through playing.
Yeah.
What was it?
South by Southwest.
Southwest?
Yeah.
Yep.
For a week. Oh boy, what a zoo! Honest to God. Well, it was great. It was so fun. But I'd never seen so many people crammed into one long street. The last night we played, which I forget was either Friday night or
Friday.
I'll tell you what a fantastic thing. I didn't really realize it was actually a tech part of that thing.
Yes.
I just thought it was music. People are actually learning stuff there.
No,
Did you even
it's
know
like,
that?
and education.
I never went.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
It's a lot of stuff.
I played and sank. And
Thank
Jeremy, so your background is you have personal financial planning degree from Texas Tech, but you ended up in a biotech company after the Marines.
Yes.
Now, give us the story real quick.
So my story, I've been with NRX Pharmaceuticals for about 6 months now, so I'm still fairly new. What drew me to the company, I was looking at different opportunities in the market, saw that NRX was focused on, outside of their drug development, assisting veterans that are suffering with PTSD and suicidal ideation. Being a veteran myself and having that affected me with one of my friends as I was exiting the military, it's something that really hit home. And so if I could be a part of that mission and help those folks, help those families.
Not often you can get a passion and a professional deal at the same time.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean that's good. Talk about what's going on with veteran suicide in your opinion. We'll talk about the company in just 1 second, but I mean we're going backwards, it seems.
It seems like we're going backwards. I mean, there are 22 veterans every day that commit suicide. That's over 8,000 estimated. 22 veterans a day. That's over 8,030 people annually that are taken from us. And if you look at that under any other demographic, it's a big deal. I mean, those are massive numbers of people that are no longer with us. And so,
Jeremy, is that PTSD from actual combat, or is it hey, I've been in this structured environment for so long, and now I'm kind of out, and I really don't know what to do. I don't know how to transfer, move into civilian life.
Yeah, not to draw an analogy, but it's almost like long-term prisoners.
Prison, yeah, exactly.
They don't know how to live in the world because they know their structure, and then all of a sudden they find themselves. Is it all of the above, maybe?
I hate to say that military members are institutionalized, but in a way we are.
That's the word I was looking for.
We're used to this structure, we're used to the environment, but I think more importantly, we're used to having our friends, our buddies that are with us, and we know no matter what happens, these people have my back. And when you're thrust into the civilian world, as I was in the military on Friday. I started class at Texas Tech.
How long were you in the military for?
5 years.
Jeez.
All in San Diego. Right?
All in San Diego.
Well, you were here?
Yeah.
I was spoiled.
So my question is, so talk NRX. NRX is developing a number of drugs. Ketamine is one of them. And of course, we found out from Jonathan a number of interviews ago that actually shock therapy is also something that you're not developing, but is out there as a treatment for bipolar, I think it was, right?
Schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia, I beg your pardon. So where NRX comes in with the ketamine, okay, it's not a novel approach, but the way you're drug delivery and the way you're doing it is somewhat novel. Talk about the intersection there.
I will preface this by saying I'm not a medical professional.
Sure.
I have no background in science, but from my understanding, our administration of ketamine, or what's developed to be our administration of ketamine, will be done in a controlled environment. It'll be done, under a licensed medical provider supervision, and it'll allow people that are very much on the cusp of making a life-altering decision for themselves and their families to make a 180 and come back to, receive the treatment and the help that they need.
Okay, so my question would be this: when you talk about NRX helping veterans with depression, helping veterans with suicidal ideation, what's that going to look like?
I think initially it'll look like a lot of work with the DoD. I think it could potentially look like working with legislators, working with the Veterans Administration, which needs to be overhauled, in my humble opinion.
Sure.
In a lot of ways, we have tons of veterans that are seeing extended wait times to go see.
Oh, you mean the VA needs overhauled?
Oh, who'd thunk it, right?
Brilliant. Man, we could do a whole show on that. Well, but that's interesting. So, what has been your experience with the Veterans Administration?
So I'm fortunate and blessed that I don't, suffer from those ailments.
But still, but can you use it for healthcare or anything? During your service time.
So my time with the VA has been limited, and I think that's by choice. I tend to go to a private practitioner, then route to the VA if I can.
You get there 6 months earlier, don't you?
And I get there 6 months earlier, and oftentimes the service is better.
How big a hurdle is guys or men and women realizing I've got a problem and reaching out versus people that just sit and wallow in that situation that they're in?
Well, again, when you're taken out of that environment where you have that trusted group that you can call, that you can reach out to and lean on when you're going through those things, and you're back in the civilian world where people don't necessarily understand you. I think in our society, we still, in a lot of ways, have a stigma around veterans that have been to war and veterans that have seen things that naturally no human being should be exposed to, but they were exposed to because they made that choice to serve and to sacrifice that time with their families. And so, I think ultimately when someone exits the military, I try to stay in contact with those that I served with. I think, having hobbies, hunting, fishing, woodworking, being a mechanic, whatever it is, to get you recentered and refocused and reacclimated to civilian life is, we need to have programs in place for that.
Because of your experience, and the reason I love talking to you about this, and not necessarily just the company, because there's a reason that you joined the company, as you mentioned. If you think in terms of when you talk to your guys, your friends, and even folks that are in the military that aren't your friends, can you see signs just from being there of they're going down that path, or is it just almost impossible because I kind of feel like they get to the 3-yard line about ready to something bad to happen, and then that's when they get saved. I mean, is there a way to?
I will say this. I'll get personal and say that I have had a friend that had a very similar track record than mine. He was a canine handler, exited the military, earned his undergraduate degree, went to law school, was practicing right here in San Diego. He actually coached me through the process of this is how you take the LSAT, this is what you should do, blah, 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 blah. We were in great communication, and all at once it seems like
out of nowhere.
No. And there were little signs that if I look back and I think on it, that may have alluded to the fact that he was not in a good place. But again, you're out, you're not constantly in that environment of being being in military mode, and life kind of takes hold.
So here's my last question. When thinking in terms of you working for NRX and what NRX is doing, because they're going right at it, right? They're going with the ketamine, or at least they're attempting to. And the reason they're doing it is for suicidal ideation. It seems like I have not heard yet, and this is not an NRX problem. It's not a military problem, because when you're in that state of mind, you're not thinking about reaching out.
Yep.
I mean, what's going to be the connect there, so they can actually get the therapy, or is it family and friends that have to just look real deep and not suffer from the hindsight, as you've discussed?
And to step back, at a 50,000 view, I mean, we're taught early in the military.
Not to show your friends.
Rub dirt on it.
You suck it up.
Right.
Not to ask for help. You suck it up.
You're talking about swimming upstream in this topic.
And so you're having to unlearn years of training and years of pressure to not show weakness, to then turn around and say, look, guys, I'm having a problem.
Yeah. Listen, to all those listening to us on American Forces Network, don't take this lightly. I'd listen to this message. I want to have you back over and over again.
Absolutely.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you coming on. We'll hear a lot from you. I think he's actually an ex-football player too, huh? You guys, Big Biz Show continues. Stand by.
Big Biz Show, Loft 100 Studios rolling on. Another beautiful day in Southern California. Wherever you're watching, listening, we always appreciate you being along for the ride. We are in over 170 countries in all the ships at sea on the American Forces Network. All you brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces, what you do, what you've done for us, we salute you. Costa, Marybird Godwin, Greg Todorov, who's our executive producer, and of course, Sully.
I want to say something. You've heard of Ladies' Night?
Yeah.
Heard of Taco Night?
Yep.
Today is hard liquor and handgun night here in the studio. We have a very special guest. Her name is Lori Carcich. Carcich?
Yes.
Carcich. Here's the pronunciation on her chip.
Oh no, who wrote it?
No, you did. Lori, C-A-R-C-I-C-H. Second C in last name.
No, fill
No,
in the rest of the
keep
sentence.
going.
Yeah, sounds
Is-
like
Sounds like an S.
Sounds like an S.
Oh, okay. There's a second.
There's a second.
How about just car? S-I-T-C-H, you jackwagon. Lori, welcome to our dysfunctional family here. Great to have you. Once again, were you just bringing gifts, or is this actually your company?
Both.
No kidding.
And thank you for having me.
Of course. Talk to us
Pleasure
about
being
you being the CEO of Country Smooth Spirits, which is a small batch Tennessee whiskey.
Yes.
And it's a female-owned company.
Yes.
Take it away, Mary.
Yes.
You know,
We gotta go to the
guys, shut up. The females are talking. How did you start this? How did you get in the business?
So I founded Country Smooth in 2015 because I wanted to drink whiskey neat. At the time, I was not a whiskey drinker, but I wanted to be. To me, I believe every spirit needs to be enjoyed neat. And when I say neat, poured in a glass without ice.
That's it.
To me, if you can't really enjoy it neat, then don't bother. So I set out to create a very smooth tasting whiskey, hence the name, Country Smooth, to be enjoyed by people like me, non-traditional whiskey drinkers at the time. Clearly today I'm pretty traditionally drinking whiskey.
Right.
Sure.
And as a master distiller who knows it has to age, I think if you started distilling when you were 25, which Lori clearly is, you won't get past your last batch on your third batch. You'll never get to taste the last barrel. That's that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how long it has to take.
It's such a fascinating spirit to me because it's not just about the booze, it's about the history and part of our culture, part of this country.
And even so there are different, you can change the mash bill, right?
Which is
So-
what makes it yours versus somebody else's, right?
Absolutely. And the period of time in which it ages. Bourbon can be aged a few months up to 20 years, really, truly.
Sure.
As long as, so bourbon, like your point, there are a few criteria to be considered a bourbon. And when I started the company, before I founded the company in 2015, I assumed, like most people, bourbon has to be distilled in Kentucky.
No,
and it doesn't. It could be distilled, so it has to be distilled in America.
Yeah.
So you see distilleries across the country, which is fantastic. So distilled in America has to be at least 51% corn content. So there's bourbons, which all bourbons are whiskeys, and then there are rye whiskeys. And rye whiskeys are at least 51% rye, which they can't be a bourbon. Right. So that's how you have bourbon whiskeys or rye whiskeys. And aged in new American oak barrels. That has to be. You can age it again later in a reused barrel, but new American oak. And the other two are temperatures into the barrel and out of the barrel. But as you mentioned, really the part of what makes bourbon have the texture is the expanding and contracting of inside.
So you're getting the oak notes and everything else.
So that's why my plywood barrels aren't working. Okay.
Don't give up, though.
I'm not. Oh, there's a splinter, but
so
it's good.
Talk about the business. I mean, you entered into a business that had a lot of traffic in it, okay? And especially at that time, because it was starting to be kind of the soup du jour, so to speak.
Right.
When dark liquors came out, is sort of you saw less and less vodka, you saw less and less absolute pecan flavor, whatever the hell you drank. What was that thing you drank, that one commercial? Vodka martini on Bar Rescue.
Yeah.
But honestly, what was it like for you to swim through that? Because that's a pretty. It's not like you're starting a consulting firm. And that's pretty daunting.
Funny you say that. I had a very lucrative consulting business. So my background is I graduated with a business degree, emphasis in accounting. My dad was a very successful CFO at a USC. And we argued a little bit back and forth when I was in college because I was for sure going to major in marketing. That's just my thing. And he's like, listen, you have to major in accounting or finance. You have to know your numbers because I know you're an entrepreneur. You've been this way your whole life. And if you don't understand numbers, and not just 1 + 1 is 2, but balance sheets, income statements, cash flows, metrics, ratios, ROI, efficiency and effectiveness, measurements of how businesses are run successfully, you're not gonna do what you want to do in business.
So why are you not a CFO of a biotech then?
So I worked for my CPA firm, and I loved it. It was incredible. It was right during the Enron scandal, so we really tested heavily in fraud, which is fascinating to me to understand the complexities of corporate fraud. And I had my first of 3 children, and that's exactly why. Partially, I'm
of course, having kids makes you want to drink bourbon. That's it, right?
Right.
Or tequila in our favor. You know?
It's very true. I have one going to college next year, so this comes in handy getting us there. So I wanted to be a mom, but I also wanted to continue to work and build my business. So I left my firm, started my own consulting practice where I outsourced controllers, CFO, and eventually business development services. Grew that for 10 years and did very well. And November of 2014, after I had my aha moment, which we were talking, to me, aha moments are never usually just like, for me, a culmination of events, experiences, things to get to that point. So November of 2014, I told my husband, I want to start my own whiskey company. And he thought I was joking. He's like, you're so absolutely crazy. I said, absolutely, you married me. You know how I roll. But I really want to do this, and this is why. But I had the background to do some very, detailed due diligence.
Sure.
Before we put a dime into this. And eventually I'm going to have to sell my consulting practice to build this. But just let me do my research. He thought I was crazy, again, why he married me partially. And I did my research. And in 2015, we formed. I understood the business mechanics behind it pretty well because of my background in developing businesses and the financials. But the 2 things I did not know very, very well. Number 1, the art of alcohol distribution.
Yeah, it's everything.
Is exhausting.
It's also a cartel in many cases in many cities.
It is.
I mean, because listen, if you look at the craft beer, we broadcast out of San Diego, maybe watching us across the world, but one of the craft beer capitals of the world, and you can make $5 a beer passing across the bar. You make $5 a case because of distribution. Yeah. That's a problem. So fast forward here because we're running a little bit short on time. I understand that you guys support veterans, and we are an American Forces Network in 175 countries and all the ships at sea, and God bless our military men and women. Yeah. You have 4 Ps. Talk about those 4 Ps that support veterans.
So I live by the 4 Ps. I'm a backpacker. I've backpacked 535 miles across the western United States, and whether I'm backpacking or whether I'm building this business, I live by the 4 Ps, climbing mountains physically and figuratively. That is passion, partnership, perseverance, and product. Okay. With my company, Country Smooth, my grandfather is a Navy veteran. He served on USS Kearsarge. I was born and raised to appreciate our veteran and our military family, and we are who we are as a country because of what they have sacrificed. So in the name, Country Smooth. In our trademark, we have Love of Country as a trademark of ours, of one of the 3 that we have.
Your logo is the American flag also.
Yes, right. Which is a veteran-owned company that we're partnered with to build those flags that are seen across the country. And on our bottle, you'll see the 5 stars. And those 5 stars represent the 5 branches of the military.
Nice.
And that has been that way for us since day one.
So part of the profits go to part of the sales, and you're doing that. So before we let you get out of here today, first of all, can people purchase this now today?
Yes.
And you're in how many states?
We have distribution in 22 states.
Good for you.
About 2,500 accounts nationally. I'm America's first female founder, CEO, and owner of American Whiskey Company, which is a huge statement for our company, competitive advantage, and really part of our story, committed to to showcase our love for our country. And so it's an honor to be here. You can buy us online at countrysmooth.com.
Countrysmooth.com, and we'll put that at the bottom of the screen there for you. And then long-term, short-term, do you go into other liquors in the future? Do you stick with this, or what's the plans for the future?
So we have 4 actively selling products, all award-winning. We just launched this, so that's about to win awards and high ratings. We are releasing 2 additional products this year, which means we will have released 6 total products. Wow. And next year, we're opening our first Country Smooth bar.
Wow, where's this going to be?
Tasting room.
San Diego, California?
Please here, please here, please here.
Where's this going to be?
We're looking at either California or Florida.
I'm pushing California.
Yeah, Southern California.
You never hear stories like a California man. It's always a Florida man. Get over here.
Exactly. Exactly.
Her name is Lori Carcich. She is the CEO and founder of Smooth Spirits LLC. And of course, her latest product, Country Smooth. You see right there on the screen. Fantastic. You can go to countrysmooth.com. We want you back here. We need to have her logo all over this place.
Yeah, we need to put some kind of. We need to build her own cubby.
We'll build her stage. Lori, thanks so much. All right, Big Biz Show.
Thank you, Bob.
Much more to come.
The band is playing smooth.
They're playing smooth.
You guys are good.
Come on.
Big Biz Show rolling on. Another beautiful day here in Southern California from the Loft 100 Studios. Costa, Mary Bird Godwin, the executive producer, Greg Todorov, and Sully. And you know that contest we have of best looking guests we've ever had in studio?
Is there a contest?
There is.
No,
there is now.
No, don't throw me under the bus.
I don't know. Our guest a few minutes ago was pretty good looking too.
We're 2 for 2 today.
Yeah.
Adam Ferrari is his name. He's the CEO of Phoenix Capital Group, and interesting business model. We're trying to maybe get outside the world of just what companies do, but inside about financial planning and such, and capital formation and such. And you guys are a privately held capital group that focuses on oil and gas. Is that right?
That is correct.
Talk about that.
So it's a little bit taboo, I guess, in some parts of Southern California, but we are an energy producer in America. We are kind of funded in a very unique way. We don't have a true direct competitor that has taken the path we've taken, but we produce oil in about 9 states in America. We have operations in North Dakota and Montana, Wyoming. We have an office in Southern California that kind of leads our capital formation efforts. And but yeah, we have a lot going on. Happy to take it any direction you
listen, we've interviewed a number of oil and gas companies. I think it's good. Are you all the way from royalties down to exploration?
Okay. Very cool.
So where do you guys fit in the scale? Is it exploration?
So we do a little bit of everything. Okay. So when I like to talk about the oil and gas business like kind of a poker table. The low stakes table is minerals. Sort of the next level up, you're doing passive working interest deals where you're providing capital for an operator. And the big boy table is you actually pick up a drilling rig and you go drill your own wells. We started doing the little stuff because we didn't have as much capital in 2019. But fast forward about 5 years, we've raised somewhere around $600 million, deployed most of it, and now we're actively running a full-time drilling program in North Dakota.
So you're sort of an enterprise-wide solution though in the business. You provide capital, you do exploration, you work lower on the food chain. You can focus. You think since you're herding all these kittens in a wheelbarrow at the same time going the right direction, do you think you're going to focus on one at some point, or is it just too lucrative just not to leave the other stuff on the table? As you said, chips on the poker table.
We're pretty much an E&P at this point. So exploration and production, that's our focus. The highest margins are in that part of the business. What's unique about our company is most companies that decide to drill wells, they go to Goldman Sachs or Merrill Lynch to raise their capital, and there's a plethora of middlemen that all charge a lot of fees. Our business model was actually really a simple idea, much more complicated to do it in practice, but we go direct to the investor. So under one roof, we do everything. We have pretty much an investment banking group.
So you have a stable of investors that'll go do. So you're like Motown of oil.
Yeah.
You got the recording artist, you have the musicians, you have the distribution.
Yeah, that's right. We got about 45.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Adam, do we? You always hear we have 100 years worth of oil and gas in this country, and we should be tapping into this massive tank. Is that true? I mean, are we just tapping a small percentage of what we could have at our fingertips?
That is true, and I think this is kind of a long topic. I'll try to condense it really quickly. When I came into the business in 2005, there was a lot of very smart people. The smartest people in the room said we're going to run out of natural gas in like 10 to 15 years. There's like hundreds of years of natural gas supplies now. So I tend to believe that, when the price is right, American engineers figure out a way to get it done. And I think American production is a testament to that. So there is an abundance of supply. There's no worry that it's going to run out in our lifetime, in our kids' lifetime. So that's
what's interesting is up until a few years back, I won't mention the president. However, we had 85% of our oil. We were independent between Canada, U.S., and Mexico.
Sure.
And it's not a bad thing. Oil's not a bad thing. In fact, I would suggest that everybody out there driving a Prius with a coexist bumper sticker, the steering wheel and the bumper sticker all made out of what's it looking for?
Petroleum. Yeah, exactly.
I want to talk about the price of gas because what I think a lot of people don't realize is the guys at the gas station are not setting the price. It's they're making their money from chips and soda. But the guys that are exploring and exporting, it's what the market will bear. And what's interesting is for an oil company to drop prices just because they have a glut of oil is like McDonald's dropping the price of French fries. I mean, the glut of French fries does not cause the market to get cheaper. It's competition that makes things get cheaper, right?
Sure.
It's all about free market economy. How do you sort of take a 50,000-foot view while you're also rolling up your sleeves and digging ditches?
So, well, it's interesting. I was in Texas this week in Amarillo, and the price of gasoline was like $2.40.
Yeah.
You come to California, and it's at least 2x that. So it's not that there's less gasoline in California. It's purely political and the regulatory environment.
Well, yeah, plus we had 89 cents per gallon of environmental fees and taxes.
Sure.
By the way, before we forget, Chris and Jared, our Emmy Award-winning director, Jared Cohen, pull up gasbuddy.com and get the gas price temperature map just to see how worse off we are than his damn 220.
No, don't do it.
One more day I went over it. Thanks. 'Cause I think we average what 360 still. So when you see that in Texas, but you also see the strip out the states that have too much environmental fees.
Sure.
Because that's driving a number of things. Where do you think this gas thing? Are we pretty? Everything kind of returns to its mean. Is this about the price we're going to live with? Because we're still $6 below Canada.
It's hard to say. I mean, it's really hard to say. I would just say this. In America, we're price takers. Nobody that produces oil in America sets the price. It's kind of a worldwide phenomenon, and it's expensive to get it out of the ground. If I were to take you to one of our locations, I think you would kind of fully appreciate the costs involved in extracting a barrel of crude oil. And if the profit's not there, we just won't do it.
Well, sure. It's not just about creating cash flow. Looking at that Gas Buddy map, you can see right in Texas where it's deep purple, where it's less expensive. But what are we? We're $4.75 average price per gallon.
Yeah,
that's just a frightening number there. For you, talk about where are you guys exploring? Where is it Texas? Is that or you?
So we own properties in
Dakota,
Texas,
the Bakken, or?
But we tend to think North Dakota is a little bit more attractive than Texas. Less competition, the cost of entry is much lower, and we have a team that has direct experience in North Dakota. And we kind of like that marketplace. So we're pretty active there.
So we're talking about the Bakken oil fields, right?
Yes, exactly.
So the Bakken is something that came out, I don't say 7 years ago, that we kind of, the boom down there.
It was discovered in the 50s.
But we created infrastructure in this country.
The boom happened in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and the funny part of this thing is there was no infrastructure. Guys are making money just on infrastructure there.
Yep.
And then real quickly, we got about a minute left. What happened there? And it looks like we're back to normal.
Yeah, I mean, enhanced technology happened in North Dakota. So we learned how to drill longer horizontal wells. We learned how to frack them more efficiently. And lo and behold, this rock in the Bakken that looks like a chalkboard, if I were to pull it out of the ground, became very economical to drill, and you had a massive boom.
Yeah, and it seems to be more efficient in terms of exploration these days.
It is, yeah, and it's a very business-friendly state. I could go on and on about how good North Dakota is to do business in.
Yeah. Would you ever? Well, listen, yeah, and it really is. And if you ever want to go completely anonymous or do a dual citizenry, like a lot of Major League Baseball players do, they establish their LLCs in I think it's North Dakota. Because in a day, if you spend 1 day there, you can establish residency, which helps with your taxes. His name is Adam Fry. Will you come back with us? I think you should be our
happy to come back.
Get on. I think Mary's going to.
Is it easy as
you're going to have to come?
Do you need me to I'm sorry. Should I be focused? I'm like,
there's 11 cameras. We got a camera when you leave this place, so don't worry about it.
Right. We'll be haunting you tonight.
Yeah. I don't do many of these types of chats, so it's a little bit different.
Great to have you. All right, Big Biz Show. That's it for us tonight. See you in a minute. Once again, go to bigbizshow.com, and of course, visit us all online at Mike slept in his car Thursday.
No, that's on the website.
Friday.com.
Any more?
See you tomorrow.